Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming. We are streaming on the Facebook group Nurses Move Mastermind, and today we are with Sister Nichole McIntosh. I'm going to introduce her in a second, but please, so let me say thank you very much for accepting my invitation, Sister Nichole, and to be so supportive with me, with my cause. This is a very problematic time of nursing crisis where we are witnesses also on humanitarian this in certain countries because of nursing crisis. And my scope, my goals is to support nurses to move abroad safely and strategically to be successful as a nurse abroad, but also really to support nurses in their process to educate them. So I believe that the best way to help them is actually to educate nurses on the global nurses market, but also giving them all the information they need to be able to choose the right country for them to make an informed decision. So the aim of this podcast is to bring along nursing leaders, innovators, public speakers, and coaches to talk about differences in nursing culture. So thank you very much to be so supportive with me. Thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome. It's an honor to be your first guest.
Thank you so much.
Sister Nichole McIntosh is a registered adult nurse who holds a number of academic qualifications, including a Bachelor of Science honors degree in Public Administration and Health Studies, a Master of Science degree in Social Research Method and Health Studies, a Master of Science degree in Nursing Research and Practice Development, and a diploma in nursing administration, marketing, and in higher education nursing. Sister Nichole is passionate about authentically and strategically leading the provision of high quality patient care for all and supporting staff to develop professionally and progress in their healthcare careers. She is currently the Regional Head of Nursing and Midwifery in the Workforce Training and Education Directorate in NHS England in London. In this role, she works closely with partners including healthcare providers and higher education institutions across London to educate, develop, and sustain a world-class nursing and midwifery workforce that fit for the 21st century and beyond. In 2022, she was awarded an honorary visiting professorship at City University of London. She is also a poet, digital broadcaster, motivational speaker, entrepreneur, and editorial advisor of the Royal College of Nursing Institute's Nursing Management Journal. She is immensely proud of her Maroon heritage and launched her Maroon Mindset podcast in 2019, and it was named as one of the best 20 UK motivational podcasts in 2021, as well as one of the best 15 UK nursing podcasts to listen to in 2021-2023. Sister Nichole McIntosh was awarded a Fellowship of the Royal Society of Hearts in 2019, FRSA, in recognition of her contribution to nursing, as well as her achievements in championing the benefit of diversity and inspiring others to achieve their goal using a range of mediums. Her interests range from enjoying music to writing in a range of formats and mediums. She is also interested in promoting the heart, entrepreneurship, and positive living. She is very cool, and I'm so happy to have her here. Thank you.
Sister Nichole, we already have an interview. You participate to my program Nurses Move YouTube channel. And in that occasion, we went through your career path. And we did to inspire other international nurses to follow their dream and their career goals. So if anyone is interested to Nichole career path, please, you can find a link in the description box below. So you now are the NHS England Regional Health of Nursing and Midwifery.
Yes, for the London region, and I am in the directorate that's called Workforce Training and Education.
Yes. Can you give us a very brief overview of your career path and lingering on your actual role, please, so they other people can know about you? Thank you very much.
Thank you. I am a nurse with 23 years experience. So I trained in 1997 and finished in the year 2000 and finished. I qualified as an adult nurse. So all my experience is caring for adults. And I have had a very varied career. So I started out on a medical ward and I have worked in many different roles over the years, including as a nurse specialist in primary immunology, as a matron, head of nursing, all the way up to assistant director of nursing in a hospital. And then I went to work in the clinical commissioning group for a year as a head of quality. My current role is the first one in an arm's length body. So that's one of the organizations that works very closely with the government. And it involves working with students, so student nurses, student midwives, student allied health professionals to make sure that they get the right high quality experience on their education and then come out ready to join the workforce. And I work with qualified staff, registered staff, and we inspire them to be great, to be proud of who they are, wherever they're from, to access training, to push themselves, to believe in themselves, just to inspire them to really be their authentic selves. So we do a lot of work that is quite innovative. I do a lot of talks. I mentor people, I coach people, and sometimes I just listen.
Which is the best thing to do sometimes.
Yes, sometimes people just need someone who cares to give them the time to just talk through whatever is bothering them and to just get some advice as to how to navigate what can be a challenging landscape.
Thank you very much. Before asking you questions specific on your leadership, please, I would like to ask you and raise concern as well about the impact of long COVID and burnout doing to the post-traumatic stress disorders of nurses. Let me just share a brief of my experience, please. I am a nurse since 20 years now, and I work in ICU in total 12 years, especially cardiothoracic ICU. I work as ICU COVID nurse at Queen Elizabeth ward at the Royal London Hospital, which is a ward that has been built just for face the COVID pandemic. It's a very big ICU, 150 bed space approximately. And I finally left the ICU just in February because, okay, I wanted to pursue my career in research, but also because I'm honest, because due to my endometriosis, my body couldn't handle anymore the stress of the ICU, physical and mental stress of the ICU. But before I left, in those years, I saw so many nurses leaving the ICU, especially, but also the profession. I think there is two main reasons because they did, which are long COVID, because even nurses get infected, they get ill because of COVID. So long COVID really make them tired and exhausted. And PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, doing the trauma of what we face because it was brutal. And I will say also that the trauma never ends because we're facing a massive shortage of nurses and the work become more and more stressful and hard. So what is your thought about it and your concern about it, please?
That's a very interesting topic to start on because we must acknowledge what we've been through in the last couple of years. We've been through a lot. We've been through a lot. We've been through a pandemic that seemed that it could never end. We're now in a stage where we are told we're living with COVID, but the impact of COVID on healthcare professionals is profound and it's undeniable. And we had a disproportionate impact of COVID on people from ethnic minority backgrounds. So many nurses died, midwives, health professionals. We saw death on a scale that we've never seen before, and we hopefully will never see again. And it has taken an impact because the carers need care too. And I think there's this thing called moral injury where we are traumatized to the point of devastation sometimes when we can't give the care that we know we're trained to give. And in COVID, we weren't able to do that. Then you factor in what you talked about with long COVID and the fatigue and the lack of understanding of it and the impact that it's having on people's careers right now. And we don't know what the future holds. It's really a tragedy. So I think we need to just acknowledge, we need to take a moment to just hold our colleagues up in our thoughts and our prayers, because the journey that they're on and that we are on, we're all on a different journey, but it is not easy. And it's only by talking about it in this psychologically safe space where we can say, yes, it does exist. So I would say, if anyone's watching who has any experience of what we're talking about, that moral injury during COVID or even post-COVID, where because of shortage of staff, you weren't able to give the care that you were trained to give, and it has had an impact on you mentally, I would say you need to just speak to someone. Don't sit in silence. We've seen the suicide rates of healthcare professionals shooting up, and that is very worrying. That keeps me up at night. So I think we have to acknowledge it. We have to acknowledge that morale is at an all-time low. But at the same time, we have students, we have people who are looking to us to see how we are going to react and how we're going to keep the profession going. So I think it's not all doom and gloom. There are green shoots of improvement that we need to say. For example, what you did, where you said, you know what, I need to change specialty. I need a break. As much as I love ITU, I'm going to do something else. You have to always be able to look after number one, because you cannot feed from an empty cup. So I would say, if you're at that point where you think, I am going to break, resilience is about, as I keep saying, is about knowing when to take a break as opposed to going until you break. So don't go until you break. You are human. Go to your GP, get some help, get some time out for you to build back your resilience and come back stronger. Don't let it end your career. I would say, I would caution against letting it end your career, because we can see what's happening in the economy. You train so hard, you have worked so hard to get to where you are. If you need a break, take a break. Don't stop. So I think you're right to acknowledge it. And then the retention is a problem. We have to work flexibly. We have to hear what people are saying when they say, I've looked at my life and I want to have better work-life balance. Can I have a flexible option? Leaders have to hear and respond accordingly. So I think, yeah, you're right to really talk about it. But I think what we need to do is look for the opportunities for us to use the stones that have been thrown against us to build our foundation and move forward with positivity, but acknowledging that not everyone is able to do that on their own. So seek help where you need to.
Yes, and as I see a nurse, I really this back from my country as well. I could say the especially nurse in the emergency setting, they tend to be will be applauded as our hero, but we tend to hold on as long as we can, and sometimes we do against ourselves. And I can say that I really hold on as much as I could, but at some point it's become I realized it was very unsafe for my patient, for my colleague, yet for myself. So I just have to, at that moment, I have to finish the ICU course I was already started. So it was my accountability to finish that. But I really have to pause and reflect on myself and understand that my career was ended. I couldn't do another part which actually wanted to do. But yes, I have to take care of myself at some point.
I think you're right. Sometimes I find in myself, you feel guilty. You feel like you're letting people down. You feel like, no, everyone's depending on me. I must go on. I must soldier on. This thing about soldiering on, and we're on the front line, and all the military analogy that we use is quite detrimental to our mental health. We are people. We are first and foremost people before we're professionals, and we hurt just the same, and we have people who depend on us to stay strong. So I don't really believe in this thing about soldiering on, but I've done it myself, and I've learned that I must never do that again. I must be able to say, no, I need a break, or no, that's not for me, without the guilt. And that takes time and it takes maturity. But you're right, we will break if we're not careful.
Thank you very much. As you know, I am an international career coach for nurses, and I study transformational coaching. So it is very clear to me that you use transformational coaching in your leadership. And now we're going to talk about your leadership. Transformational coaching is something, it's not new because already 20 years is actually around, built in America, but moving UK quite soon. And this is something that is actually take courage anyway, because still new, if we can say. We still attached to our old mentality of leadership. And so, because I believe that this taking courage, especially I believe that the moment with this nursing crisis, even if there's something is taking courage, I believe that this is the only way sustainable for leadership in nursing at the moment. And this is why I greatly appreciate what you're doing. And I actually enjoying your talk as well all the time. So please, can you give us your opinion and motivation of the rationale behind as well, or the motivation, your willingness in celebrating diversity, inclusion, safe space, well-being in general, which is actually transformational coaching. And what is made you opt in for transformational coaching in your leadership? And if we can please starting with the student nurses talk. Thank you.
Lovely. I am pleased that you have really picked up on my transformational leadership approach, because it's very important to me to be a transformational leader. And transformational leadership for me is about engaging hearts and minds, and really using a lot of we language as opposed to I language. So it's not egocentric, it's about us, it's about the collective, it's about us getting to where we need to get to together. And you're right to mention about courage, because as Maya Angelou says, courage is the most important virtue, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. So it does take courage to be kind. It takes courage to be compassionate. It takes courage to be fair in a system that sometimes tells us that leaders are tough and rough, but actually leaders are humble, and they practice servitude. They see leadership as an honor. So when I when I was approached by Professor Calvin Morley from London South Bank University to join Student Nurses Talk, it was an easy yes, because inspiring young minds, when I say young, not necessarily in age, but people who are young on their professional journey, it gives me a lot of satisfaction. It gets me up out of bed in the morning. It gives me joy in my heart, because I'm able to meet people who are just starting out, who are like what I used to be, and to get them when they're quite lovely, and remind them why they're here, tell them about legacy, tell them about practicing compassion. So Student Nurse Talk is our monthly online safe space where we come together and we talk on a range of topics. It's quite emotive. It's quite emotive because it's safe. People take off all the armor and tell us the real deal, what it's like to be a student, nurse, midwife. We have students from all over the world. We've even had some American student nurses join us in the past. But it's a chance for people like us, because Calvin and I are two sides of a coin, and we have Shabi Katala from City University as well, who is our third co-host, and we just impart what we call nuggets, pearls of wisdom that we would have loved to have had as students as well. And our students are just inspirational. They've been through so much and they want to be in the family, so we welcome them with open arms. But it's important for leaders like us to be accessible and to be credible. So it's a highlight of my month, really. That 1 hour every month on a Thursday where we just chat. And sometimes there's silence, sometimes the topic is so raw, but the silence speaks volumes. In that silence, there is acceptance, there is hope. We keep in touch with students who want to, and we have catch-ups and virtual coffee chats. And they have someone as a leader who they can say, actually, I know Nichole, and I can send Nichole my assignment. I can send her my application, and she's not going to laugh at me. She's going to help me. And it keeps me grounded, so that when I'm in boardrooms and we're deciding policy, I can use my experience with my students to say, hang on a minute, that makes no sense, because last week the students told me that wouldn't make sense. So it keeps me grounded.
Thank you very much. And you recently, because you are writing in the Royal College of Nursing Journal as well, you wrote an article about inclusion and diversity as well.
It's important. It's important for us to use our platforms, our voices, and to be proud to stand behind our views. So my view is that everyone has a role in promoting equality, diversity, and inclusion. I don't care where you're from, what background you are, you have a role. I don't believe in this active bystander behavior. I think we all have a role. So my article was about what is the role of nurses in promoting it. And I started from a legalistic point of view. What the law says, the Equality Act has 9 protected characteristics. It says that it's illegal to discriminate against someone because of their race, their gender, their sexual orientation, their religion. It's 9 protected characteristics. So I think it's important for us to give nurses the tools and the tips and how they could and should promote equality, diversity, and inclusion in practice, because it can be scary. It can be scary if you're from another background and you don't want to get it wrong. You don't want to put your foot in it. You don't want to offend anyone. But I don't want anyone to think that they're a bystander in this. We're all in it together. This ship is going down. If it's going down, we're all going down together, because guess what? We could be the patient tomorrow. And if we have a nurse who doesn't understand how to promote diversity and inclusion, we could be the patient who suffers. Our family could be the person who suffers. So I think we have a social justice duty to equip people, to tell people, to hold people to account, to say, you have to be an advocate for EDI, equality, diversity, and inclusion. If you want to be in the caring profession, it comes with the job. You have to be an advocate. And sometimes, people are not as confident. So we don't want to beat people up. So it's about the carrot and the stick. So the carrot is, these are the tools. The stick is the repercussions when people don't act in a fair way to others. So I think that article has resonated with quite a few people who have contacted me. They have daughters and sons who are students. They want to share it with them, but it's available. People can subscribe. And I would urge people to subscribe to the journal and have a read, because it's only by working together that we're going to really make a difference. And we have seen that people from a minority background get a raw deal still.
Yeah, it's true. And just about what you say, I want to just talk about 2 different things. Just very briefly, please just share your thoughts if you like. With globalization, nursing understand the diversity of people. So there's something called nursing culture that rise in the past few years, that actually is nursing that look after people in their diversity to be able to give the right quality of care. And so what is about nursing culture is actually assess the culture of the people to give this quality of care. But I believe, and this podcast is about, if we assess our diversity culture in nursing, because we come from different places as well, because of globalization, we are able to better understand each other and provide even a better care to our patient, because it's demonstrating more than one time that multicultural team are those that are able to provide the best result. This is one thing, and the other one is kindness is so important. I used to be, it's not easy to be kind, because I have a bad moment. I try to do my best to be kind as much as I can, we'll say that. But now you can lose your mind quite soon if something happens that you don't like. But when people ask me why you care about everybody, my answer is, the tool I use is kindness, but my answer is, I am able to care about everybody because I don't care about anybody. And this is mean that I don't allow other mentality to actually dictate what I'm thinking, because I embrace kindness as my tool to help people. So when I say I don't care about anybody, means that I don't allow the mentality or certain standard behavior influence me in a way that I want to act. So I go ahead with my thought and my character in being able to do this. And yes, I think if we share our culture, we can contaminate each other in a positive way.
Definitely. I think it's important for us to celebrate diversity. Celebrate diversity. I build walls. I build bridges. I don't build walls. I just think sometimes we alienate ourselves into neat little boxes. The box is not real. Let's get out of the box. Let's meet someone who doesn't think like us. Let's challenge ourselves to hear someone's view, someone's way of life that doesn't align with us, but we respect them anyway. They have a right to it. So I think it's important for us as caring professionals to be culturally competent, culturally aware first, and then culturally competent. Because if you're not aware and you say we're all the same, there are no differences, come on, your care will not be the best, the highest quality. So I think it's important for us to understand that we are different, but actually what we all want as people is respect and dignity and kindness. And it might look different ways to different people because of the lens through which you live your life. And your lens is developed by your attitude, your values, your behavior, your socialization, as you say. But globalization has made us think, oh my goodness, I know so many people from different countries that when I was growing up in Jamaica, I never knew I would know someone from Italy like you. Yeah. And we are friends, we're sisters. So I sometimes it just gives you a lot of joy that we're in a world where we have the power to meet different people. So why wouldn't we? When they ask you, why do you care? I would say to them, why would I not care? Humanity will only survive if everybody cares. Yeah, everybody needs to care. So I think that cultural competence where you learn that someone from Jamaica might like rice and peas, but also we might like jollof rice as well because we've been exposed to jollof rice.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you can just prescribe what I like because where I come from. Because I'm a person my views might change. So I think it's just that acceptance that there are differences, but let's celebrate the differences. There's more that unites us than divides us.
Thank you very much. You gave a talk not long ago at the London International Nurse and Midwife Recruitment Celebration Day about recruitment, retention, staff education, and development across London region. Could you please give us an insight and sharing the most important tips about it, please?
Okay, yes. So it was important for us to have that celebratory event for internationally recruited nurses to come together and just say, wow, we've been through a lot. We're here, and this is where we want to get to. And I think my talk was about, as you say, the education. And I looked at diversity as well, because every opportunity I talk about equality, diversity, and inclusion. And I call it nothing about us without us. So I think it's important that every stage of the NHS, the National Health Service, that we see diversity. So even in our internationally recruited nurses, we want to see them excelling, getting to the very top. Yes, being their best selves, not feeling that, oh, because I come from wherever, I won't get the job. I want them to say, I've seen a job. I've looked at the job description. I'm going to look at the person's specification. And guess what? I meet the person's specification and I'm going to apply for it. I talked about the killing of George Floyd and the impact that it had on me as a professional, because up to that point, I had always applied for jobs that I knew were less than that I was capable of, because I never wanted to be the only black face at the table. And it held me back. I am a very honest leader. You'll get honesty from me. So I told it as I feel it, because it comes from my heart. And in the moments after the killing of George Floyd, weeks and months later, where people were saying, oh my goodness, I can't believe that black healthcare professionals or whoever didn't feel that they had a fair chance at getting jobs, I pledged that I would never again apply for a job that was less than I was capable of. And I pledged further to say, in honor of George's memory, I was going to apply for the next job that I saw that I knew I should apply. And lo and behold, it was this job as regional head of nursing, and I had to apply. So I think sometimes we need to get out of our own way. Sometimes I think we need to have a word with ourselves and get out of our own way, because the system is designed for us to think that we won't get ahead. So our job, as Bob Marley says, the people who are trying to make this world worse are not taking a day off. So the good people can't take a day off. So I take no day off. I get rest. I do rest. Someone accused me the other day that they don't think I sleep. I do sleep. I am able to function on very little sleep. But I just feel that we have so much negativity, cost of living crisis, this, that, and the other, discrimination, racism, that good people need to really firm up. As we say in Jamaica, we put on our Gideon boot. It's a figurative boot. Be strong, fill your boots, walk confidently through life. And I think that's important. But yeah, we can't allow other people's perceptions of us to dictate how we feel about ourselves. I was telling someone recently, in my early days as a nurse, I was very upset when I was being racially profiled, racially discriminated against. And it was an Arabic doctor, consultant, who must have been used to situations I was describing. And he said to me, I was upset, but he cared for me, and I really thank him. He said to me, Nichole, if they call you a goat, does that make you a goat? And I thought of all the examples to give, and I wasn't feeling this goat analogy, but I thought, let me work with it. And he says, does it make you a goat if they call you a goat? And I said, no, it doesn't. I was annoyed. I said, no, it doesn't make me a goat. He said, there you go. And from that day, I learned a valuable lesson. It's not what people call you, it's what you answer to. So they can call me anything they want. They can call me an upstart. Who does she think she is? There she goes again. Why can't Nichole keep quiet? They can call me anything. What's important is what I answer to. And I answer to people who approach me with respect and compassion. You can give me the feedback that, as long as it's constructive, I'll hear you. But when you come to me and try to break me down and try to belittle me, humiliate me, bully me, I am going to rise up like a lioness. I will not be a pussycat. I will transform in a second into a lioness, and I'm not having it. Because what happens is, if you allow people to bully you, harass you, anytime they're having a bad day or an easy target, you're a doormat, they will continue to do it. People only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. I know it sounds hard. And someone on the live might be thinking, yeah, it's easy for her to say, what does she know about discrimination? You don't get to where I've got to in my career without being tough. Yeah, you don't get. It's not for the weak. It's not for people who are not mentally steel. Okay. Yeah, you have to have steel running through your veins, because they're coming for you. People come at you randomly. They come at you just to poke the bear to see how you respond. So you have to have that emotional intelligence to know what your triggers are when you're stressed, and not allow people to get under your skin. And what Michelle Obama says is something I live by. When they go low, I go high. So when they come to humiliate me and try to get Nichole to be the angry black female or the defensive black female, I have to talk to myself and not rise to it. But it is not easy. But it's like anything else. You have to practice it. So I think it's important for us to remember, don't worry about what people call you. It's what you answer to. Yeah? And believe in yourself. Self-belief is different from arrogance. Yes? Confidence is different from arrogance. Be humble. Be humble as you walk through life. Walk through life with humility and grace. But at the same time, walk proud. Yeah? And know that you are put here for a reason. As Maya Angelou says, you tower over your circumstances. It doesn't matter what's happening. If you're in a dark tunnel, you don't stop. You don't stop. You head to the light. So my job in this life is to just give people hope, because I know how hard it is. And when you're from a different background, a different country, it's even more harder. So I think if you're in a tunnel and it's dark, keep moving.
Thank you very much. Yes. Just a little example, maybe it's fit or no, I don't know. But for example, I start up a YouTube channel with an English that is terrible sometimes, especially when I have a little bit of anxiety. And the video audio was not bad at the beginning, but I started because I felt that I have to share something that was profoundly important for me, and we are here and you sustain me in this, so I'm very glad and happy at this. And I wanted to share a comment from one Facebook user that say, I don't know who he is because he's doesn't share the name, but impressive. And I know this is why I wanted Sister Nichole to be my first guest in this podcast. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, whoever you are, anonymous.
Yes, thank you very much. And I have Stanley, who is one of my students, say, wow, thank you. Another Facebook user say, thank you so much, Nichole, for your encouragement words. Yes.
That's very kind. And I think it's important for them to just pause and reflect on their own journey. And don't believe that success is destined for other people. Everybody, we all have a right to win. I believe that I'm in the human race. And as my dad keeps telling me, and my dad is a retired head teacher, I talk about him in everything that I do. He said, Nick, the thing about the rat race is that even if you win, you're still a rat. So I don't enter the rat race. I don't enter into anything that if I have to get ahead, it's at the expense of others. But as people in the human race, look to people who inspire you and try to be better than them. Try to be better than them. Don't settle. Never settle in life.
Thank you from Italy.
Oh, lovely. I haven't been to Italy for a long time. And I think it's time for me to visit Rome again. It's lovely.
Oh, yes. Maybe August is too warm. I don't say
Oh,
now.
my goodness. August in Rome.
I'll have another one before we go ahead, if you don't mind. During my, I don't know who he is, I'm sorry, it's anonymous. During my nurse internship, frequently other nurses send me, but who makes you do it? Change your idea while you still have time. Listen, you give me the courage and strength to finish there. I think to continue in his her.
I think that is a good point. People will try to discourage you. People will try to influence you. What you know your own mind. You know what gets you out of bed in the morning. And the jobs that we do are the most satisfying in the whole world. When Ipsos Mori does the polls year on year, nursing is rated as the most trusted profession year on year. That doesn't come by accident. That means people look to us as people who have good character. So if you've chosen a nursing career, you've already shown that you have good judgment. Don't listen to them. You finish the course, you finish your training, and then you can think, what type of nurse would I like to be? What would I like to try? And if you try something and you don't like it, you think, I put it on my CV, it's experience. Don't feel that you're ever backed into a corner and that you must go on a certain route. The world is your oyster. Just finish the course and don't listen to the naysayers. Let them do what's right for them and you do what's right for you.
Amen, sister. Absolutely. Okay. Few days ago, this is very important and very close to my heart. I believe more close to your heart question. Couple of days ago was the 75th anniversary of the Windrush. If I can say, deportation of the Caribbean people to UK. So many people of the Windrush generation built the NHS at that time and gave to NHS a massive contribution. In this channel, we talk about international nursing, nurses migration, and global nurses market. So I try to educate international nurses about scam and exploitation. Of course, this was completely different things, not just scam or exploitation in new day way of exploitation. But please, could you tell us the story of the 22nd of June 1948 Windrush Generation, please? Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So after the World War, there was a call for people in the Commonwealth countries to come to the motherland, England, to help rebuild because so many soldiers died. So there was a need for people with certain skills, for example, in the health profession, in transport. So a lot of Jamaicans, people from the Caribbean, answered the call that was made to invite them to come to the motherland. They came and they were treated terribly, appallingly. They were discriminated in the worst way. They were violated. They couldn't get jobs. When they did get jobs, they were given the menial jobs. They couldn't get accommodation. They would see notices like no dogs, no blacks, no Irish. So they felt that they really came on this Windrush, Empire Windrush, the ship, and landed at Tilbury docks in vain. You should see the pictures of those who came on the ship. They were well attired.
Yeah.
They were smartly dressed. These were people
Yeah.
who had
Yeah.
ambition. They had hope for the future. They left their families and came and were really treated badly. And they
And
stayed in
sorry if I can say that were very bright with pose of they were very inspired and motivated.
yes.
They really, if we can say that maybe the picture from the Titanic, which is older, but people that
Yes.
were about to experience this massive life experience, this they wanted a rich life that they should
Exactly.
very soon. Yeah.
Exactly. And you can see it even now in the ones who are still alive when they speak, when they do documentaries. It moves your heart to hear how they were treated. And there was even further injury when there was this move to ask them to show papers that were shredded by the government. So it's a stain on our name that we live in a world where people were treated so badly. But you know what? On their shoulders, I stand. I honor their memory. I honor the ones who are still fighting for justice, because some of them, as you say, were deported because of this hostile environment that they had towards them.
And lose
Deported.
documents as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think when Nelson Mandela said, never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience oppression of one by another, when he was talking about apartheid, I applied to the Windrush generation. Never and never again must anything like that happen. It's a travesty, but we are strong people. We come from a long line of ancestors who have overcome much slavery. So we're not weak people. Yeah, we are strong people. And we will hold others to account. And the generations to come will know about the struggles that have happened for them to live the life that they are currently living. So I think it's important to acknowledge what's happened and what's still happening, because some of these Windrush generation are still waiting on compensation. 5 years later, some of them still haven't had it. Some have had it, some haven't. So we are watching this closely to see how it unfolds. But we salute them for the war, for the fight that they've given and the opportunities that they've opened up for people like me.
Yeah, like me as well, because I say again, they give a massive contribution to the NHS. And if the NHS allow me to come from Italy, a bit a career is because of them as well. So thank you very much. And this is why I wanted actually to raise this during this interview. Thank you very much. We nearly at the end, actually. It went so quick. You have this amazing podcast, the Maroon mindset, and just want to follow the preview question, but you have this amazing podcast, the Maroon mindset, that represents your essence, actually, who you are, and that is a source of inspiration for all generation, I will say, but also for this time races and gender. It is a voice that claims diversity and inclusion, and it is a motivation that say, and that I want to quote you with one of your quotes, which is very powerful. Until the lion learned to write, every story will glorify the hunters. Please tell us about your Maroon mindset, please. Thank you.
So I am the descendant of Maroons, and Maroons were runaway slaves. Some say they were never enslaved, but I say they were runaway slaves who fought against oppression in the Caribbean, in Jamaica. So they went into the mountains. It's quite controversial in terms of the role that they played. Some people think that they caught other slaves and put them back into slavery. But you know what? we were not there in history to judge. So what I know about the Maroons is that they are brave warriors who fought against oppression. And they used different ingenious methods to defeat the slave masters. But what it means for me to have the Maroon mindset is that I self identify as a lioness, but I also self identify as a coconut tree in a hurricane that's bent to the point of going to have to break, because everybody says she must break, the tree must break. But like Phoenix rising from the ashes, when the wind stops, I get back strong. But that comes from my Maroon ancestry, the blood that runs through my veins, where I know how to run away and live to fight another day. I pick my battles very well. I have discernment. I know when to pick my battles. But my Maroon Mindset podcast is to really started it in 2019. And as an introvert, I didn't really like the sound of my voice. And I thought I need to just record it and get used to it. Because people tell me that I have a melodic voice, but I hear it and I just think I should have said this better. So I can critique myself better than anybody else can. So I share on that podcast about things that make me strong, because I believe that our center, our position, our default setting should be one of strength. So it's an asset approach rather than a deficit approach. So look for your strengths and amplify those. And I share all sorts of topics on race. I talk about the elephants in the room, the things that people want to dance around, and discrimination. I call it out for what it is. I disturb the status quo. I think it's important to agitate. So that podcast is quite interesting because sometimes I forget that I have a podcast because I get so busy living life that it happens that I share an episode maybe once a year. But I found out accidentally that I have been in the top 15 nursing podcasts in the UK, the top 15 nursing podcasts for 3 consecutive years. And I just thought to myself, that's happened without me even putting a lot of effort into it. What could happen if I really started to take it very seriously?
Yeah.
So my next challenge is for me to put some effort into it, because I think sometimes we limit ourselves and we say, oh, I'm busy, but I need to make time to do more. But it's just an honor that someone could have heard my words coming out of my mouth to help me to help others and feel that it's rated so highly. So recently I was contacted by Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs press office to say they wanted to come on my podcast. I thought it was a scam. I thought this is not for real. They're trying to scam me. Someone's trying to pull a fast one. But it turned out that they actually found my podcast and wanted to come on it to tell healthcare professionals how to claim workplace expenses. We had the loveliest chat, and we're going to have further chats. And it just shows that someone who is quite humble and quite wanting to be in the background, sometimes you are thrusted into the foreground and the spotlight. And it's important to learn to be comfortable within it and to shine so that others will shine their light.
Yes, yeah, I listened to the podcast and it was very insightful actually. And I was thinking about, I wanted to apply for a couple of journals, to subscribe to a couple of journals, but I didn't yet because too many expensive. I've got 3 kids. I say, okay, just wait. But actually now I know that I can apply. They have 100% refund.
Exactly.
It's important to have this information and the inspiration in general that you share all the time. I love you. Besides who you are in the nursing field, you're very strong, so much.
Thank you very much. I think it's important for us to, it's not easy being in the spotlight for me. Sometimes you just want to go away and drink your glass of red wine and chill. But when we are seen as inspirational leaders, we have a duty. We have a duty to keep people going, keep ourselves going. As we said earlier, it's important for us to use our platforms. I'm a poet. I was trying to find one of my poems that I could maybe, if I had a few minutes, to just share one of my poems, if you don't mind.
I actually was about to ask you.
Are you?
Yes, because you actually shared a couple of days ago because of the Windrush Day.
Yes.
And it was so beautiful because it's actually fit perfectly with the podcast. But I forgot to ask you.
Oh my.
I've got like my last question. If you would like to, can I please share another comment before?
Yes.
Because I think it's the last one. I think you already answered this kind of question. But Stanley's from one of my students from Nigeria. He's a registered nurse now. He just finished his internship in Nigeria and want to move in UK. Thank you, Nichole, for your impressive word full of wisdom. Please, I want to ask, our situation where we have discouragement from our fellow professional colleagues, nurses, over there, and how can one pull through it? Thank you. Thank you, Stanley, for the question.
Thank you, Stanley. And you're right to flag it as an issue because sometimes we are our own worst enemy. We don't always work together to support each other. So some of the times, the saddest things you can find is when your own, someone who is from the same background as you or from the same professional group, don't support you. And I think for me, how I've managed that, Stanley, is to just say, you know what, that's on them. I do not take on other people's baggages. If they have issues and things they need to sort out and they try to put it on me, I refuse to accept it. So I don't waste too much time on it. But when it becomes an issue, if it becomes a problem where they are being disrespectful, conversations would need to be had privately just to let them know that actually I am not prepared for you to treat me this way. So I think calling things out is very important, but doing it with compassion and respect is essential.
Yes, because even other people have a bad day, we need to understand them, why they're being
That's
certain
right.
way. If we can compassionate each other, everything
That's
sorted out.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Thank you very much, Stanley.
Yes.
Thank you, Sister, for the answer. So my last question was, you are a poet, sister. Why?
I'm a poet because I like to write. I like to write and I'm an overthinker. So I'm an introvert. So I overthink everything. So the way for me to quiet the thoughts in my head is to get it out of my head onto paper. What an actor will say, it was cathartic for me to do something to just get it out of my system. To quiet the thoughts in my head, I write a lot. And I have a blog, the Human Touch blog. And on that blog, I shared poems, but I didn't call myself a poet. I don't like labels. So I was writing poetry, but I didn't really identify as a poet until someone says, "Do you write poetry?" And I thought, no, I don't. And I went on my blog and I found about 6 or 7 poems that I had written over the years. And yeah, I call it the healing art of poetry. So for me, it's not about ego. It's not about, oh, here's Nichole, the great poet. It's about Nichole, the authentic leader who is able to be very emotional, vulnerable in sharing my thoughts. The first time you do it and you press publish, you're thinking people are going to laugh at you. Oh my goodness, you're going to embarrass yourself. But once you do it a couple of times and someone contacts you privately and said, I was having a bad day, but hearing your poem or reading your poem has helped me. Believe me, you get over all the ego and the worry about people laughing, because if you can help one person who doesn't know you and they feel compelled to contact you, your life is worth living. So for me, poetry is healing. So there's healing in my poetry. I have several poems. I have one here that I'd like to share. So this is called The Sun Will Rise. And I wrote this in the middle of the pandemic in September 2020 when I had a lot of time on my hands. And here it goes. Life, I have to read it because I can't memorize them. It says, life has a way of pulling the rug from under your feet when you least expect it. In the midst of living, there are unexpected twists and turns to navigate. Don't worry, it happens to us all at some point, this feeling of utter despair. Don't take it personal, it is to test, not break you. Whatever happens in life, hold on to this, the sun will rise. Most won't admit it, yet inside they know that they have their own battles to face. Some of the battle scars have barely scabbed over, let alone healed, before another battle appears on the horizon of your life. Whatever happens to you in life, hold on to this. The sun will rise. There comes a time when you truly understand the significance of the saying, live life one day at a time. Some may laughingly say, how else could you live life apart from one day at a time? Surely you knew that is the way it is. They may say further in disbelief. Whatever happens to you, hold on to this, the sun will rise. Facing up to your challenges builds your strength. Overcoming obstacles creates overcomers. Even the challenges that seem insurmountable only serve to build courage to face even more. Whatever happens to you in life, hold on to this, the sun will rise. When it feels that the world is caving in, look up and see the rainbow of hope shining down. It's during those moments of our lives when we feel like giving in, we must faithfully hold out for the sun. This faith in the unseen gives us hope, and the fear soon fades away back to where it came from. We are eagles, not pigeons. At this altitude, we must expect some turbulence. However, whatever you do in this journey called life, hold on to this. The sun will rise. Blessings today and always. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sister. I really loved this one.
You're welcome.
Can I ask you another one, if you're
Yes.
able to?
Yes.
Really be inspired. I think it's very fit with this conversation as well. The brighter day.
Right today. You like that one?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to find it because I printed it recently, but I don't have it with me at the
If you
moment.
can.
I have it here.
There's somebody say, thanks, Nichole, for inspiring us through your words.
Lovely. Thank you very much for taking the time to comment. This brighter day was written the same month as the other one. So you can see at that time in my life, I was going through a lot in the pandemic and I had a lot of thoughts. So a brighter day. Live life with a sense of optimism that sends positive energy into the universe that powerfully resonates with anything is possible. Live life knowing that it's the main show, not the dress rehearsal. Live life in the firm belief that you are writing your story with every breath and your life is a bestseller. Live life knowing that your happiness matters to you and many others, some you haven't even met yet. Live life recognizing that there's healing power in helping others every chance you get and accepting that you can heal yourself. Live life purposely and purposefully because while there is always more to do, you recognize that sometimes doing nothing can be an act of courageous defiance. Live life expectantly and patiently while you inch your way towards your brighter day. Live life holding on and knowing. Live life faithfully holding on and knowing that only you have the power to make your brighter day today. That's another one from my Healing Arts series. It's really important for me to just share these. I don't often get the chance to recite them, so it's nice when people ask me about them. So thank you.
Thank you very much. They are very inspiring. You are very inspiring. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And I hope I have you again sometime.
Anytime.
You're
You know
so
where I
busy
am.
with your time, so I'm so grateful, and I don't know how to thank you
You're
so much.
welcome.
In
You're welcome.
English now.
You're welcome. We make time for things that are important to us, and you're very important to me. And the work that you do is really important to me. I told someone today, I sent them a message to say that I'm going to be speaking to my Italian sister at 4 o'clock. So I see you as a sister. So it's an honor and a privilege to come on anything that you're doing. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, sister. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for coming to this podcast. My English now is completely place because I'm so excited. I'm so happy, glad to have you here, sister. And if you see this video on YouTube, if you like it, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more, and I hope to have you back again, sister, sometime.
Anytime. Thank you. And thank you for everyone who's taken the time to watch and comment. Please share the podcast, share it widely.
And thank you for everybody. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you very much.